Let's talk about hiking and camping today. So hiking and camping is a great activity that you can do on your own or with your friends or with your family. And the good thing about hiking and camping is you can get out into nature, you can enjoy the world around us, get away from computers, get away from the city, get away from the pollution, and enjoy the world around us. And hiking and camping, it's good for you mentally and also good for you physically. It gives you some exercise. And so today I thought we could take a look at some words associated with hiking and camping. Associated means connected to. So words associated with hiking and camping. Same as words related to hiking and camping. Okay, so let's start with talking about hiking. Hiking means walking on a mountain or walking on a trail. Hiking, it's kind of tricky to define. It's kind of like walking. It's kind of like climbing. You could be going up a mountain, but you don't have to be. It just means you're out in nature going for a walk or climbing something. So we're going to take a look at a few different groups of words. So first up, we have some things related to hiking. We have hiking boots, trekking poles, trail markers, and then we have some places. Oops, I want to combine these places. Oops, separate. Some places on a hike. We have the trailhead. We have a footpath. We have the summit. We have the ridge or a ridge. And then we have two actions, two verbs. We have climb and scramble. We also have hike. Hike is an action too, right? Hike means walking in nature or maybe walking up a mountain. Climb and scramble are a little bit different, so we'll talk about those. Okay? So let's take it piece by piece. You might know some of these, but we're going to practice them together. Okay? First up are some things that you use when you're hiking. First up is hiking boots. Now, boots are kind of like shoes, but they're stronger, they're heavier, and they will protect your feet more than shoes. And usually they have high ankles. The ankle means the part between your leg and your foot, that's your ankle, and a high ankle on a boot will protect your ankle. So if you step and move your foot funny, this will protect your ankle from getting hurt. Okay? And so you can see this person is wearing hiking boots, which will protect their feet when they're walking on these rocks. And if you step on something that's crooked, if it's not straight, it's crooked. If you step on something crooked, the boots will protect your ankle, right? Now, boots is the thing. And then we use hiking as an adjective. Hiking is a noun, but we can use it to describe the boots, okay? So this is very common. We have a thing, and then we use another thing to describe that thing. We have boots. What kind of boots? Hiking boots. Got it? Okay. So let's look at a sentence about hiking boots. Don't forget to wear your hiking boots, or your feet will get sore on the trail. So this might be a little bit easy, but there are some things we can practice here too. So don't forget to wear your hiking boots. That's probably pretty easy. Or your feet will get sore on the trail. Okay. Sore is kind of like hurt, but it's like a slow hurt. A slow hurt, kind of. It's a little. It doesn't hurt a lot, but it's hurts a little bit for a long time. So this is in Chinese. This would be 酸, sore. So be careful of the way you say it. In Chinese, 酸 could be sore, like it hurts a little bit. It's like or, sore. But in Chinese, suan can also be a flavor. I have lemon tea. This is very suan. Is that sour? No, that's sour. So sour. Like our, we have something our, then add an S. Our, sour means lemon is very sour. But this word is or, sore. So your feet will get sore if you don't have hiking boots. Okay, now where is this? It's on the trail. Now a trail, this is a word for a path that's in the wilderness, in nature. So a path out in the forest. So it's not a road, it's not a street, it's a trail. So maybe it's just dirt or grass or stone. That's a trail. Okay? And of course, if you have questions, please let me know in the chat, or else I'll just keep on moving. Next up, another thing, they're called trekking poles. Trekking poles. Well, we had hiking boots. Boots for hiking. This means these are poles for trekking. That means these things that this lady is holding. She's holding 2 trekking poles. A pole is any long, thin thing. Like you might have a pole on the street with a light on top. Or maybe let me think. Well, any long, tall thing is called a pole. Oh, my brain is freezing. Well, anyways, there are lots of poles in the world, like a traffic pole, a light pole. What else is there? Anyways, it's a long, thin thing that goes up. And these are poles that are for trekking. Now, trekking is very similar to hiking. It just means going for a walk in nature, or like a heavy walk, a strong walk. So trekking, you're trekking in the wilderness or trekking in nature. So our sentence says, my trekking poles helped me keep my balance on the steep and rocky terrain. So the trekking poles helped me keep my balance. Balance means going left or right, and then in the middle is your balance. So if you're walking, maybe you shake, whoa, 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 but you want to stay flat. That's balance, okay? So the trekking poles helped me keep my balance. This is a common phrase. You should remember this. If you try to do yoga, you need to keep your balance. Don't fall down. Okay, and where? Where is this? On the steep and rocky terrain. Terrain means the ground, just the ground you're walking on. What is the ground like? It's steep and rocky. Steep means it goes up really fast. So you could have a mountain that's really steep. It goes up really quickly. Okay? And rocky. Rocky means it has a lot of rocks. You can add the letter Y to almost any word to make it an adjective. So rocky terrain. Terrain means ground. I'll write it for you to help you remember. Terrain means ground. And rocky terrain means the ground has lots of rocks. I just showed you my tea. My tea is very what? Sour, because there's lots of lemon in it. I can use lemon as an adjective. Lemony. Just add a Y. My tea is very lemony. Okay? So we can do that with a lot of words. Yupei says, poles for golf. For golf, that is a golf club. Golf club because the head of it is big. The top of the end of the golf club is very big, and we use it to hit something, so we call it a golf club. We can just Google different kinds of poles, I guess. I can't think for now. But a lot of times it's something that's standing on the ground. Like outside the school, there is a big telephone pole. Oh, my brain. Of course, a telephone pole is a very common thing. It's a big wooden thing, and at the top there are telephone lines, like connecting your house to the telephone company, a telephone pole. Thank you for the question. Climbing rope helps too. Good, yeah. So if you're trying to keep your balance, having a rope will also help you so you don't fall down. Maybe you hold the rope next to the trail. Good. Next up, another thing, this is something you will see on the trail. You don't bring it with you. It's called a trail marker. Now, marker could be 彩色笔, but not here. A marker is a thing that marks something. Like what is it? 表志, I think. To mark something means to like show where something is. So this is a thing because it's ER. ER means a thing. And it's a thing that marks something. What does it mark? It marks where the trail is. And the trail is the path. So a trail marker is something that shows you where the trail goes, how to follow the trail. So if you're in Taiwan, a lot of the trail markers look like these things. Well, here's a pole. This is a pole sticking out of the ground. So this trail marker is a pole with 3 little signs pointing in different directions. And these are great in Taiwan. The trail markers make it easy to see where you want to go. In the United States, there are many different kinds of trail markers. Some of them are very small and very simple. Like this one is a trail marker. It's I think it's plastic or maybe metal, and they just stick it to the tree. And when you're hiking, you'll follow the trail, and on a tree, you will see a marker. And maybe if you get lost, you'll have to look for one of these markers. And that will show you you're still on the right track. Okay? So, the sentence for trail marker. We followed the trail markers to stay on the right path. Okay. And be careful, the right path. This means the correct path, right? So English is annoying. It doesn't mean the turn right. This means on the correct path. So if someone says, oh, should we go left? Then you might say, right. And they say, wait, we should go right? It's like, no, we should go left. It's like, oh, we should go left. Right. Very confusing. Because right can mean correct. So sometimes be careful about using the word right. You might confuse someone. Hello, Monica. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So yeah, if someone says, should we go left? Say, you're correct. Don't say right. They might get confused and turn to the right. Okay? Good. So these are 3 things connected to hiking. Hiking boots, trekking poles, trail markers. All of these are important. 2 things you can bring with you, 1 that you will look for when you're hiking. Okay. Now, what about some places? We just talked about that when you're walking and when you're hiking, that might be called a trail. So there's a place called a trailhead. Now this, I'm not exactly sure the Chinese name for this, but it's probably similar. I know in Chinese we often use tou to mean the beginning of something. So trailhead is kind of the same thing. It's the beginning of a trail. Trail is your hiking path, where you're going to walk. So the trailhead is the beginning of your hike. So like I mentioned before, I went to the Honglu Di hike, and the trailhead is close to Nansijiao MRT station. So you are walking in the city and you find a path or like a staircase that's the start of the trail. And after like 2 minutes, suddenly you're in nature. There's no more city. So the trailhead is the start of the hike. Okay? So our question, our sentence for trailhead is, we parked the car at the trailhead and started hiking up the mountain. Okay? So that's pretty simple, I think. We parked the car at the trailhead. Maybe there's a parking lot or a parking space, and started hiking up the mountain. Okay? Every hike, every trail has a different kind of trailhead. Maybe there's a parking lot, maybe there isn't. So you have to do some research before you go, right? Okay. I think I did a hike in Jiaoxi, and at you could find the trailhead because I think there was a temple right there. It's like, where do we go for the hike? Oh, there's the little temple. That's the trailhead. Okay? Now, when you are hiking, you enter the trailhead and then you start walking on the trail or start hiking on the trail. One kind of trail is called a footpath. And so, like I said, trail is a kind of path. A simple kind of hike will be on a footpath. That means it's flat, or it's mostly flat. It's in Taiwan, there are lots of places with stairs, but the flat part where you're just walking is called a footpath. It's a path for your feet. You don't need to climb, and it's not very difficult. So these are nice, relaxing kinds of hikes, okay? Or parts of the hike. So our sentence, we followed the footpath along the river, enjoying the sound of the water rushing by. So this is an interesting sentence, right? Because we're putting two ideas together, but there's no connecting word. That's okay. So we followed the footpath along the river. This is what we do. We're walking on the footpath. And so you can say you follow the footpath. Okay? Follow doesn't have to mean something's moving. It just means there's a trail and you are going with the trail. Okay? So we followed the footpath along the river. And then we describe what we are doing, ing, what we're doing when we're following the footpath. So we followed the footpath along the river, enjoying the sound of the water rushing by. So all we need is the verb plus ing. This is kind of like we were enjoying the sound of the water. It's kind of the same idea. We followed the footpath and we were enjoying the sound of the water rushing by. But we don't need this part. You can drop it. So sometimes when you're making a sentence, describe what you did to explain what you were doing at the same time. Use verb ing. Okay? A little bit tricky, but kind of a cool thing about English. Next up, the word is summit. Now, for pronunciation, you know I love talking about T's and how Americans don't say T. We don't say summit. Too much T. This is called a stop, where you start to make a T, but then you stop. You stop the air coming out of your mouth. So the first part is some. That's easy, just like S-O-M-E, some. And then M-I-T. Don't say mit. You don't need to. Say mit. Can you hear I start to make the T shape with my mouth? Mit. But then I stop all the air coming out of my mouth. So don't go mit. No need. You can say mit. You stop the air. And like by stopping suddenly, I can hear that it should be a T. So summit. There's only one M sound. It goes together. Summit. Summit. You try. Summit. 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 Good. Good job. Okay. So the summit means the top of a mountain, or the top of a hike, or a top of a trail. It's the very peak. That's another good word. The peak. Well, the peak means the pointy part of a mountain. Whoa, I'm spinning things. The peak means the pointy part at the top of a mountain. The summit can mean that, but it means the highest part. So if you're climbing Elephant Mountain, 象山, the summit is where that big rock is. Oh, we got to the summit. There were a lot of people looking at Taipei 101. Okay. So here's a sentence about summit. Say it again. Summit. It's a good word for practice. After several hours of hiking, we finally reached the summit and enjoyed the breathtaking view. Okay. After several hours of hiking. How much is a several? Well, we don't know. But it sounds like maybe 3, 4, or 5. Oh my God, I can't type. Oh my God, I can't type. Maybe 3, 4, or 5 hours. Several hours. Oh my gosh, that's a long time. So after several hours of hiking, we finally reached the summit. Finally, we learned this in our course at some point. And that means you've been waiting for something. You've been working hard, trying to get to it, and finally it happens. It's like in the end, but you're feeling relieved. Finally. Okay? We finally reached the summit. Reached is another way to say arrived at. Okay? You can use the word reach for your hand, like you reach out and grab something. But if we're walking, we could say we reached a place. You arrived at that place. So we finally reached the summit and enjoyed the breathtaking view. I think we've learned this word before, but let's talk about it anyways. So the view means what you see. If it's breathtaking, it takes away your breath. You look at the view and go, the view took away your breath. It's breathtaking. That means it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's incredible. Okay? Okay. Yu Pei says, I wonder, should I pronounce the T in a very, very light way, or there's no need to pronounce it? That's a great question. For summit, you can make the T in a very light way if you want. If you heard me enunciate, I said light. But you don't have to. There's no T sound if you don't want to. So you could say summit a little bit. That's okay. And you might do that to make it clear, because this stop is actually pretty hard. It might be easier to do a little bit of a T. So summit. That's okay, but you don't need it. So if you can hear me, there is no T at all. But other people will hear the sound because they know when you stop that fast, it's going to be a T. Okay? Summit. And because the air stopped so suddenly, it sounds like a T to native speakers. Okay, I don't want to get too deep into this, but let's look at 2 words to practice this. Just a word we see all the time. C-A-T. Now, how do you say this word? Are you saying it correctly? Now, listen to me. Cat. Did you hear T? No. There's no T when I say cat, because I stop really quickly. You could say cat, a little bit of a T, but you should never say cat. Never do that. Cat. A little bit of a T is okay, but I we'll say cat. I make the shape of a T with my mouth, but I stop the air. There's no T at the end. So if a T, this is if a T is at the end of a word. Cat, summit, foot, F-O-O-T. I hurt my foot. Oh, that's two. I hurt my foot. Both of them have T's, but I stop the air. Okay? I hurt my foot. So that's a little tricky, but I want you to try it and practice it. If you do a little bit of a T, that's totally fine. But if you want to sound like an American, this T at the end of a word stops. Okay. Now that's pretty tricky, so don't worry too much. I made a little video about T a while ago. The T at the end of a word is a stop. Cat, foot, summit, hurt. But in the middle of a word, sometimes it's a D sound, like I drink water, water. So T's are really annoying in American English. So let's not worry too much about it. Okay. Whew. Pronunciation. We're all going to get headaches, right? Okay. One more place. When you're hiking. Okay, let's review. When you're hiking, at the start, you go to the trailhead, where you enter the trail, you start your hike. And then maybe you climb a little bit and you walk on a footpath. And eventually, you finally reach the summit, the top of the trail. Now, maybe near the summit, you might find a ridge. Now, these are pretty common in Taiwan. And a ridge is really cool, but maybe a little bit scary. What a ridge is, it's where there's like something, a flat, kind of like a trail, but it's on top of a hill or on top of a mountain, and on the sides it goes down really fast. So you can see this picture. This is a ridge. This is actually me. That's me hiking. My friend took this photo. This is a ridge, and on the sides, shoo, shoo, it goes down really fast. So you walk along these rocks, and they have a handrail to help you. A rope, or you could call it a handrail. A handrail means something you can hold on the side. And so the ridge is in the middle and the sides go down quick. So you have to be careful on a ridge. You don't want to fall left or fall right. I forget where this was, but it was really cool. I can share it with you if you want to know. So here's our sentence. We walked along a narrow ridge, enjoying the stunning views on both sides. So narrow is a good word to know. So this is a ridge. This one's not too bad, but a narrow ridge means it's very thin. Narrow is hansai. I think that's how you say it. Very narrow. So narrow ridge. What's the opposite of narrow? Well, very wide. So maybe you're on a wide footpath and you get to a narrow ridge. And it might be a little bit scary, but we walked along the narrow ridge, enjoying the stunning views on both sides. So again, use ing to say what you're doing at that time. Enjoying the stunning views on both sides. Because it's a ridge, there's a view on the left and the right, so both sides. What are the views like? Well, they're stunning. Stun is a verb. If you get stunned or you stun somebody, they go, "Huh!" That's being stunned. And so we can use stunning as an adjective to describe the view. If I'm on this ridge, hey Kyle, and you look over here, you go, "Huh!" You're stunned, you're shocked. And so it's stunning. Stunning is usually a good thing. I just said the word shock. Is shocking the same? Shocking sounds a little bit bad, like you're, but in a bad way. You're shocked, but you're not happy about it. So stunning is usually good though. Wow, it's stunning, it's beautiful. Okay? We can also use that to talk about a person. Like if someone is very beautiful or very handsome. Handsome, not handsome. I can't speak. If someone's very good looking, you can say, wow, that person is stunning. Okay? So that's a good word to know too. Okay. A little bit more. Actions. Hiking. We talked about hiking, which means it could be going up a mountain. It could be walking on a trail. A lot of things. It just means going out and traveling through nature. Then we talked about trekking. Trekking means, again, walking or climbing through nature. So if you're hiking, that could be on a footpath or whatever. But what about climb? So in Chinese, you might say pa san. Climb and hiking is a little bit different. Climb sounds more serious in English. So hiking is what we usually do. There's some stairs, there's some footpaths. There might be a little bit of climbing, but it's mostly just hiking. Climbing sounds more serious. And that means you're going up something that's steep. And maybe you're climbing rocks. So you can see this guy, he's going up the side of a mountain. So climbing is a little more serious. It's going up something steep, okay? And so here's our sentence. The last part of the trail was steep. So not like this, but like this. It was steep. And we had to climb up some rocks. So that means you're going, it's a lot harder than hiking, okay? So that's a good word to know. So that's the difference. Hiking means you're walking, maybe a little bit of climbing. Climbing is focusing on going up something that's steep. What's the opposite of steep? Oh, brain. Too bad. Not steep? That's too obvious. Well, I'll have to think about it. So steep means it's like this. 很陡, 很斜坡. I forget. Anyways. Flatten? Flatten is an action. Thank you, though. Flatten is what you do. Like, let's say you're making a pizza. You have a ball of dough. You flatten the dough. So you could say maybe the footpath is flat. That's okay. Flat. But flatten. You can notice that I have that stop. Flatten. Flatten means making something flat. Okay, give me a second. Antonym of steep. Let's see. Gentle. Okay. Gradual is a good word. So the trail was gentle. Basic is flat, easy. You could say this. Oh my gosh. Keyboard problems. Sorry, everybody. It's a little messy today. Flat is like 平的, flat. Gentle means it's not too hard. It's not very steep, like a gentle slope. That means it goes up slowly, but not too steep. So flat means 平. A gentle slope means it goes up slowly, okay? While steep is like really going up really fast. So yeah, I guess gentle would be a good one. Usually I think we just use not steep, kind of boring, but that's sometimes the easiest thing is the best thing to say, right? We don't need fancy words all the time. Okay, so climb means going up something that's steep. This is another interesting word, scramble. I'll add another just for fun. You could say clamber. That's kind of a fun word too. I think it sounds cool. Scramble, clamber. These are both about the same. And what it means, it's like somewhere between walking and climbing. Walking is on something flat or a gentle slope. Climbing is on something that's steep. You have to climb up the rocks. To scramble or clamber means it's a little bit steep and you can't just walk. You might need to use your hands and your feet, but it's not super, super difficult. Like you can see in this picture, this guy is clambering up this little slope, or he's scrambling up this little hill. Okay? So when you're hiking, you might have to hike, you might have to walk, you might have to climb, or you might have to scramble or clamber up something that's a little bit hard to walk on, so you need to put your hands down. Scramble, clamber. Basically the same, but kind of fun words. Okay. Okay, so I think that's everything for hiking. I think we can save the camping ones for next week, because I think, yes, we looked at 9 words, but we learned 9 words about hiking, but we then also practice a lot of words related to hiking, right? And so I think this is enough for today, I hope. And so next time we can continue and we can talk about camping and some words that are specific to camping. I think we can stop here. I hope you guys had a good time. We talked about hiking boots, trekking poles, trail markers. Then we also talked about the trailhead, the start of a trail, a footpath, meaning where you walk and it's pretty flat, and then the summit, the top of a mountain or the top of the hike. And then we talked about a ridge, something that is a path or a trail on top of a hill or a mountain that's steep on the sides. A little bit scary, but actually really cool to hike on. And then we talked about climbing and how that's different from hiking. And then we talked about scrambling and clambering, which I think are new words for you, which I think are kind of fun to say. Like, oh, I have to clamber up that hill. It's kind of a cool word. Okay. Oh, thank you, Duffy, for taking some notes. I think about climbing, you must have the best physical strength. Yeah, for rock, so for climbing like the guy in this picture, maybe it's not too bad, but some rock climbing, if it's very steep or if it goes vertical, you have to be in amazing physical shape. You need to be super strong and have really strong fingers too. So rock climbing is incredible. I've never actually tried real rock climbing. Maybe we should all go rock climbing together someday. That would be exciting or scary, maybe. Okay, so I think we can stop here. Oh, let me get to the end with a nice picture. So let's stop here for today. I hope you enjoyed talking about hiking, and I hope you learned something new, and hope you were able to practice how to make sentences about hiking. And next time we can continue by talking about camping and places to camp and some of our experiences doing that. So let's stop here for today. Thank you everyone for joining. Next time we can talk about camping and some things you need for camping and the different places you can go camping. And hopefully I'll hear from you and you can tell me about your experiences. If you didn't tell me about your hiking experience, your homework right now, leave a comment and tell us about one of your hiking experiences. Have you gone on any trails that you really enjoyed? And let us know. Recommend a place you like to go hiking or somewhere that you think we would enjoy. Okay? So thank you everyone for joining. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye.